March 1st, 1995.
Tonight, is there something that could allow this wheelchair-bound woman to stand up and walk?
I am looking for a better quality of life.
Just this morning, this man went into the operating room, and Jay Shadler was there right alongside him as the patient helps guide the doctor through the dramatic procedure.
Ted, how are you feeling? Good.
Is it for real? Doctors are debating the results, but in just a few minutes, you'll see something remarkable.
It's good.
An incredible journey. We travel where no camera has ever been allowed to go. Inside the tombs, to unlock the secrets of the pyramids in the land of the pharaohs.
This is amazing.
So come along as John Quinones finds answers to an ancient mystery.
You know, standing here, you can almost feel the presence of those people.
You still can smell the incense of 5,000 years ago.
Here is Tara Lipinski. She's a 12-year-old bundle of talent and hard work, and she knows what she wants.
My biggest dream is to win the Olympics.
But every parent wonders, what does it take to create a champion?
I worked hard to have a 21-year marriage, to have a beautiful home, to have a family, and now it's not there for me.
Tonight, Renee Poussant and the girl everyone is talking about. A report on nurturing the dream at a price.
Who is this juror excused today from the O.J. Simpson trial?
You wouldn't believe some of the things that people will start arguing about, like little kids back in 6th grade.
Tonight, a glimpse of what's going on inside the jury room as Aaron Brown reports the latest from Los Angeles. And a primetime HeroGram. A good deed gets rewarded and earns a giant hug.
From ABC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam Donaldson in Washington, Chief Correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, Sylvia Chase, John Quinones, Renee Poussant, and Jay Shadler. This is Prime Time.
Good evening. Tonight we're going to show you what may be a medical miracle, a treatment for a disease that has crippled 1.5 million Americans. Parkinson's is a mysterious, frightening brain disorder that robs its victims of muscle control, strikes without warning, has no known cause and no cure. But now, in several hospitals in the United States and Europe, doctors are trying a controversial surgical technique with astonishing results. Here's a measure of success. One surgeon says a good test of the procedure is to have the patient dance after surgery. Correspondent Jay Shadler was there in Loma Linda, California, when something remarkable happened again today.
This is how we have come to know and fear Parkinson's disease. The debilitating tremors, the shuffling gait, the muscles seemingly frozen in place. So it is startling to see advanced Parkinson's patients go from this to this. From stumbling to standing. From shaking uncontrollably to walking normally. All in a matter of hours after undergoing a relatively obscure operation known as a pallidotomy. But whether this is a real breakthrough or just another in a long series of prematurely promoted solutions to Parkinson's is being hotly debated in the medical community.
Most patients improve 50, 60, 70, 80% in most of their symptoms. And yeah, the effects are startling.
Dr. Robert Iacona of California's Loma Linda University Medical Center is one of a handful of neurosurgeons in the United States doing the operation, and he is claiming remarkable results.
Sometimes the benefit is 100%, and the patient can be asymptomatic afterwards.
Asymptomatic? That, you mean their symptoms completely go away?
Yeah, some people you can't even detect that they've got Parkinson's afterwards.
At 6 o'clock this morning, 59-year-old Ed Hounsel arrived at Loma Linda with high hopes that he too would leave his Parkinson's symptoms behind.
This is Ed Hounsel reporting in for surgery.
The former highway patrolman has had Parkinson's for 10 years now. He's suffered the usual progression of symptoms, and the drugs he must take to control the disease cause their own devastating side effects, such as these wild, uncontrolled movements.
I had to retire early, and The medication isn't as effective as it used to be. It wears off rapidly now.
So Hounsel is willing to risk surgery on his brain to relieve symptoms that he can no longer tolerate.
What are you hoping for today?
If I have any improvement, I'll be happy.
But the smallest improvement would be deeply felt.
Yeah, if I can get rid of this tremor, I'll be happy.
Parkinson's occurs when the brain stops producing a chemical called dopamine. Without dopamine, some brain cells become overactive, creating the classic Parkinson's symptoms. Traditional drug treatments like L-Dopa try to replace the dopamine in the brain to calm the overactive cells. But in a pallidotomy, the idea is for the surgeon to do what the missing dopamine can't. By inserting a probe into an area called the pallidum and using heat to create a small pearl-sized lesion, the surgeon tries to neutralize the overactive brain cells and relieve some Parkinson's symptoms. By 7:30 this morning, Ed Hounsel has been admitted to pre-op and shares a moment with another pallidotomy patient, a woman who's come all the way from Israel.
I wish you well.
You too.
A few minutes later, Hounsel is fitted with a metal frame that will lock his head in place once in the operating room. His tremors continue as he's rolled out of the prep room down to MRI. This giant magnetic imaging device will give the doctors their first look inside his brain and provide Dr. Iacono with the navigational maps he'll need to find and destroy the defective brain cells.
Now, what do you have to be careful of as you move that probe in here?
If we hit that, it's no problem. But if we were to make the lesion there, we might make those arm weak. It would be like having a small stroke or something. And this has happened 2 or 3 times.
Just moments before he's taken to surgery, Mr. Hounsel's 2 sons arrive. And for the first time today, the emotional power of what is at stake slips out.
Sure great to see you guys. It's neat.
By 9 o'clock, the surgical team suits up. We'll accompany them with 3 cameras into the operating room. The patient is given only a local anesthetic. In fact, the success of the operation depends on his being wide awake and able to communicate changing sensations to the doctors.
How are you doing?
Fine, thanks, Doc.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Is everything set for you?
Uh-huh.
Good. Hang in there.
Oh, yeah.
Remember.
Hounsel's legs and feet are still erupting into spasms. After drilling 2 quarter-inch holes through the patient's skull, Dr. Iacono begins a long and delicate process of precisely directing the thin Teflon probe toward the targeted cells. New X-rays confirm he's on course.
Here's what we believe to be the ideal final target. The probe's coming right on down. So we've got this navigational update and shows that we're right on target.
One final test and Iacono will be ready to heat the probe. The lights go out, and electrical impulses are fired into the brain, further refining the exact position of the surgery.
Okay, any lights or colors?
Yeah.
What color were they?
Light green, I think.
Okay, great.
The target has been found. The heated probe emits a high-pitched tone. The first treatment will be on the right side of the brain, and almost immediately, tremors on Mr. Hounsel's left side begin to subside.
Good.
Look at the right foot go. Nothing on the left.
Quiet now, yeah.
Your left foot is not moving at all here, Ed.
That's correct. That's unusual.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
It's because the operation's working, man. It's working.
Good.
It's working. What do you think of that?
All right.
A quick verbal test confirms the patient's speech patterns have not been affected.
The ragged rascal Wren.
The ragged rascal Wren.
Now's the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country.
Now's the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country.
His sense of humor hasn't been impacted either.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands.
Good. All right. Speech sounds good.
Despite the results claimed by Loma Linda, other Parkinson's experts are warning it's premature for the surgery to be touted as a remedy for Parkinson's.
It's too early to say that these represent effective treatment for Parkinson's disease or for movement disorders, either one.
Dr. Jack Wisnott is president of the American Academy of Neurology.
It's conceivable that a fair number of patients could be benefited, but I would reiterate that it's too early to make a judgment about that.
While Dr. Iacono has done more than 500 pallidotomies, there have been few carefully controlled studies and little long-term follow-up on pallidotomy patients. That's particularly important with Parkinson's because over the years, other treatments that held early promise were found to lose their effectiveness over time.
One of the terrible twists for a lot of these Parkinson's patients is the false hope that has been handed to them in the past. So many Parkinson's patients have in the past felt a false hope.
That's right.
That they're going to be given a cure.
Right.
Do you worry that that's what's happening here in any sense?
I don't have that feeling about pallidotomy. It seems to be a really, really strong operation.
Back in the operating room with Mr. Hounsel, doctors are about to repeat their procedure on the left side of his brain. Again, the lights are lowered, and this time, a microphone picks up the sound of Parkinson's disease.
Can you hear that? Popping? Yeah, that's a hyperactive neuron. The whole area is very hyperactive. We happen to touch the very hyperactive area.
The second target is located. Again, the probe is heated. And again, the most profound symptoms, this time on the right side, begin to subside. For doctor and patient, the next few minutes hold a mixture of relief and revelation.
Good man. Great job.
Yeah,
you did a great job.
Here, all right.
It looks gorgeous. How's that feel, Ed?
Very good.
Great.
Anybody want to dance?
There you go.
Okay.
Snapping real quick. 3 hours after surgery began, Ed Hounsel sits up on the operating room table, anxious and seemingly quite capable for the first time in years to begin a new life.
He's going to be different than you saw him yesterday. Lots different, and lots different than this morning.
No showmanship.
No, because if you fall, it's mine, but okay.
Jackrabbit.
Jay Shadler talked with Ed Hounsel's sister-in-law just a few moments ago. She's with him tonight at the hospital and says, he looks like the man I haven't seen in 7 years. His doctor says he'll be going home tomorrow morning. And Emory University is conducting ongoing research into pallidotomy. 1 new patient per week is being added to the study of the procedure's long-term effectiveness.
Coming up, the making of a skating champion.
I do the 1 o'clock session to 1:40, then I do a 2 to 2:40, and then I do a 3 to 3:40.
But at what price? And what is the mystery surrounding one of the 7 wonders of the world? An extraordinary look at an ancient puzzle when Primetime continues.
This is Colgate Tartar Control with micro-cleansing crystals. To get teeth feeling any cleaner, you'd need this in your bathroom. So for the next best thing to a dental cleaning at home, make an appointment with Colgate Tartar Control.
Can what makes a car look good also make it safer? You'll find the answer in the new Dodge Stratus. Because along with dual airbags, anti-lock brakes, and ultra-high-strength steel door beams, even the car's shape helps us add side impact protection. It's nice to know that all that is in here, because all this is out there. New Dodge Stratus. It's full of answers.
This bowl has no automatic toilet cleaner. Ugh. This one has Clorox automatic toilet cleaner. Drop it in your tank. It's like cleaning with the power of Clorox bleach every time you flush. Which would you choose? Clorox automatic.
Presenting nuggets from Hershey. Thick, rich chunks of Hershey's milk chocolate you can really sink your teeth into. And we all deserve something to sink our teeth into. Try Nuggets, Hershey's thick bite of chocolate.
I just had one of the best dinners I've ever had, and it was under $10.
Now at Red Lobster, every day we have 15 dinners under $10. Like a half pound of snow crab with a large portion of scampi, just $9.99. Only at Red Lobster.
Coming this Thursday.
Welcome to the Edge.
Extreme premieres Thursday on ABC. Saturday, the marshal has to protect a judge.
I take death threats very seriously.
But discovers he's playing with fire.
She's dirty.
Going somewhere?
CYTV Guide says the marshal's a pleasant surprise. Saturday on ABC.
Primetime continues. Now from Washington, Sam Donaldson.
Our next story is about a dispute so impassioned that it has turned a world we really know very little about upside down. A world right out of the Indiana Jones movies. A respected engineer, Robert Bauval, has written a book called The Orion Mystery, and as a result is being called a heretic, accused of engaging in pure fantasy. To more closely examine the subjects of this heated debate, John Quinones takes us inside one of the world's great treasures.
We're looking at the greatest monuments ever built in history, of that size, of that precision, of that quality, of that antiquity. And yet, we have no texts, we have no drawings, we have no plans. What we have here is a gigantic question mark.
Robert Bauval has spent 12 years searching for the key to one of the world's oldest mysteries. Why were Egypt's pyramids built? And why here in the middle of the desert?
For 4,500 years, John, this site, these pyramids, have stubbornly kept their secret. And suddenly, in the last few years, we're breaking through.
The answers, he says, lie in the heavens. The Egyptians were the world's first astronomers, and they were also the first to name the constellations. Among the most important was Orion, which represented Osiris, the all-powerful god of the afterlife. Bauval was intrigued by all of this, so he combined his background in engineering with astronomy and compared the location of the 3 pyramids at Giza with the positioning of the 3 main stars in the belt of Orion.
It occurred to me that you had 3 stars, you had 3 pyramids on the ground, and the next thing was to notice that the little star, the topmost star, was offset a little bit to the east.
Just like
what you see on the ground. And immediately it was like 2 pictures overlapping in my mind, and I saw the pyramids in the sky.
He then went a step further. He began studying the Great Pyramid of Cheops, the first and largest pyramid. Inside this massive tomb, we find burial chambers for the king and queen, a great gallery, and 4 shafts, 2 of them supposedly used for ventilation. Bauval followed the trajectory of the southern shaft and discovered that it led directly to the constellation of Orion.
The shaft pointed very precisely to Orion's belt. It is, in short, a finger. The pyramid points to its place in the sky.
According to Bauval's theory, when a pharaoh died, his body was mummified and then laid inside this great pyramid. It was part of an elaborate funeral ceremony that may have lasted months. And then, late one night, as the constellation of Orion appeared in the heavens, the king's spirit began its celestial journey.
From this burial chamber, says Bauval, the king's soul would fly through the southern shaft, and now resurrected, would find its final resting place among the stars.
I've discovered that their intention was to build a afterworld, a world for the dead, a world for these monarchs that they believed existed in the sky.
This theory, it's just fantasy. It's a fantasy theory.
Zahi Hawass is perhaps the world's best-known expert on pyramids.
We as Egyptologists try to write what's true. Try to write with evidence. You can't make a theory without evidence.
As director of the Giza necropolis, the sprawling cemeteries that surround the pyramids, Hawass has little time for theories.
And it's fascinating.
This is the world's oldest tunnel?
Oldest tunnel in history. If they did not cut that tunnel here, they have to go on the other side of the pyramid. It will be a very long detour.
The pyramids, he says, were nothing more than royal tombs dedicated not to the stars, but to the sun. In fact, for hundreds of years, archaeologists have maintained that life in ancient Egypt revolved around the sun.
The sun god Re, he was the main cult. The king, when he dies, he wants to become the sun god Re.
Why was the sun so important to these people?
This is the god who create the people in the morning. This is the god who do everything for the king.
But Robert Bauval says he has written proof that these pyramids were indeed launch pads to the afterlife. To find it, we have to travel a few miles south to Saqqara, home of the world's first pyramids. Beneath these sands lies the key to Bauval's theory.
Oh, this is amazing. These are the pyramid texts, John.
The pyramid texts, 4,500-year-old hieroglyphics, a kind of Egyptian Bible documenting a pharaoh's life and his relationship to the gods.
They repeatedly tell us the king becomes a star, the king becomes a star, the king becomes a star in the constellation of Orion.
The texts show the 3 stars of Orion sitting right next to a celestial river, the Milky Way. As they gazed upon the night sky, the people of the Old Kingdom noticed that every year when Orion appeared, the majestic Nile River would overflow and flood the central valleys of Egypt. It still does today. A kind of natural irrigation that turns the desert into one of the most fertile lands in the world.
The whole magic of Egypt was linked to that magical river on the ground. They saw it in the sky. They saw in Egypt in the sky.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful kind of an explanation to amuse me as a layman who's sitting at home drinking beer and watching the TV. But it will never give me any solid evidence to reconstruct the history.
No evidence, he says, because the pyramid texts were written during an entirely different dynasty, almost 100 years after the pyramids of Giza were built.
You cannot use the pyramid texts, who are written long time after Dynasty 4 pyramids, to reconstruct the function of the pyramid.
As for the pyramid's location, archaeological research shows they were built here because this is where the Egyptians found enough limestone for the monuments. It was also the only place with a solid rock foundation that would keep the pyramids from sinking into the desert. But archaeology has certainly not put an end to all the theories about the pyramids.
I have been answering hundreds of theories. Every theory will stay for 2 months, and after that it will go with the wind.
Hawass has heard it all before. Theories that the pyramids were built by people from the lost civilization of Atlantis, by aliens or slaves. The ruins he's uncovered, he says, should put all those theories to rest. Take, for example, his latest discovery.
This discovery, as I told you, is very important because this is unique architecture.
A burial ground for common workers who built the pyramids.
All of this is mud brick tombs.
So there are symbols of pyramids all over.
Yes, like exactly.
This is the first time the tombs have been shown to the public.
They had this disease called bilharzia, and this disease eats the organic material in the body of the workman. And this is why all the skeletons that we found here died between the age of 30 to 35.
So far, 600 skeletons have been unearthed here, each of them found in the fetal position facing the pyramid of the king. What does this tell you about their position in society?
This will, first of all, will tell us that the pyramid builders were not slaves.
They were not slaves. Could they have been slaves who were given tombs?
No way. Those people are the people who made the eternity for the king, who made the king to be a god. And this is why the king gave them the privilege to be buried in his shadow.
Slaves, he says, would have never been buried so close to the king. While we watch, Hawass's team finds skeleton number 601.
All the 600 skeletons of women and men, they had stress on their back because they were moving heavy stuff up to the pyramid. They were moving large blocks up to build the pyramids.
So they had a stress on the back?
They had a stress on the back.
It's believed the workers spent 20 years building just one of these pyramids. Hawass says it wasn't so much a religious experience, but rather a massive civic project designed to build a great society.
Well, I think it is ridiculous. I mean, it's grafting a modern vision of economics and social culture on people who didn't think like that at all. If you were guaranteed life after that for hard work, and you really believed it was possible, you'd do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't do this.
No matter how backbreaking.
No matter how backbreaking. You're paying for eternity. You're paying for a ticket to eternity.
Bauval is spreading his message in a book called The Orion Mystery, already a bestseller in England.
It looks like there's something to be examined here.
He's getting rave reviews and is now on the lecture circuit.
Now, what you're seeing is a direct overhead of the Great Pyramid.
Why has your theory been so well received in England?
I think because it makes sense. I think that the human mind likes things that make sense.
I always advise any one of my friends who doesn't have a job in America, you know what I tell them? Come by the pyramids, take some photographs. Go to New York and think about any crazy idea. And write a book. You'll be rich.
In just the last couple of years, Hawass and his team of archaeologists have discovered the ruins of an entire city at Giza, including yet another pyramid. They're now rebuilding it. Archaeologists say, despite centuries of excavation, only 30% of what lies beneath these sands has been uncovered. There is so much more to learn. Did the Egyptians know something about an afterlife that we have yet to discover? Could the pyramids be the passageway to heaven? Dr. Hawass, you have to admit, the position of the pyramids is just like the position of the stars of Orion.
It's an imagination, it's fantasy. The man is not basing his theory on any archaeological or philological evidence at all.
For now, the archaeologist is busy restoring the Great Sphinx. And the engineer, he's writing another book, this time claiming the Sphinx is 8,000 years older than most archaeologists believe. As for his controversial claims about the pyramids, what if your theory is proven wrong?
I don't think it will be proved wrong. I don't think it will be proved right. We're left with a question mark, and that's the beauty of it.
Another question was raised just last month when a Greek archaeologist announced that she'd found the long-lost tomb of Alexander the Great deep in Egypt's western desert. Both Greek and Egyptian archaeologists are doubtful about the discovery.
Coming up, it takes endless hours of practice, thousands of miles from home.
I miss out on seeing Tara grow up.
A lesson in ice skating. And who will get our HeroGram this week when Primetime continues.
Are you going to fix fried chicken, Mommy? I don't fry chicken anymore. But you can help me with the shake and bake.
30 years ago, we changed the way America makes chicken. Now we're doing the same for potatoes with Shake and Bake Perfect Potato Seasoning Mix. Add it to your fresh potatoes, shake it, and bake it. And get perfectly seasoned oven-roasted potatoes. There's only one way to get potatoes this perfect, with perfect potatoes.
It's Shake and Bake, and I'll help.
To reach the top, you need the proper climbing gear. The kind you'll find at the JCPenney Spring Wardrobe Sale. In fact, we've taken the savings to a whole new level. That includes everything from tailored suits and sport coats to classic trousers and wrinkle-free dress shirts. It's our biggest event of the season, so don't let the Spring Wardrobe Sale pass you by as you work your way to the top.
JCPenney, doing it right.
Here's why the Saches are another Tylenol extended relief family.
I feel I'm too young to have this arthritis in my hands. What bothered me most was that I couldn't pick Michael up. With extended relief, now I can, even after a whole day of play. The relief really lasts.
Now, Deborah uses Tylenol extended relief with this unique bi-layer caplet. One layer of strong relief to attack the pain quickly, and one layer to make sure that strong relief lasts.
Now he doesn't have to hear, Mommy can't hold you.
Tylenol extended relief. Strong relief right away. Strong relief the whole day.
Auto Show concept cars. Cars with exciting features like supercharged engines. Finally, someone's built one for you. Introducing the 1995 Riviera with an available supercharged engine that breathes deep for maximum power. It's amazing what a breath of fresh air can do. The all-new Riviera by Buick. What a concept.
Thursday, I can give you Ryan Dunnigan on a platter. Tony's got a spy in the mob.
Are you sure no one saw you? Get down!
But when he's discovered,
the wire went dead.
Tony jumps in to save him. Michael Chiklis is the commish. Thursday on ABC.
Friday, he shot and killed a graffiti artist who sprayed graffiti all over Los Angeles.
So I just came around and aimed for the center of his black shirt and fired.
And he went free. Is he a hero or a villain? You decide. 2020, Friday.
It's time to award another of our HeroGrams, which we do from time to someone who's done a good deed or a good turn or a good thing. Tonight, it's a whole bunch of someones who deserve a HeroGram. Newport News, Virginia, Sunday, February 19th. A group of kids is playing in a vacant lot when they see an elderly woman being mugged right across the street. Among them, 13-year-old Delvin Johnson.
And we heard that lady on the ground saying, help, help. So we saw that man over there push on the ground, take her pocketbook.
And 11-year-old Maurice Williams.
So all of us pick up a stick, and then we start running.
Running after the mugger. 12-year-old Dune Gales among them.
I was with Delvin in the front, and I was a little scared, but I didn't worry about it.
The woman on the ground was 75-year-old Edna Moss. She had struggled with her attacker.
That's when I fell. And when I fell, he took the pocketbook and ran around the corner.
Took the pocketbook with such force, it ripped open. Pushed Mrs. Moss with such force, the fall broke her hip. Meanwhile...
Then we surrounded the man. He was hiding behind like an ice cream truck. And we surrounded the whole place. And we was looking through the cracks and we can see his boots.
They flushed him out of his first hiding place where he dropped the pocketbook. Security guard Fred Moore had called the police.
The kids, they came up. We know where he is. Yes, he's in black. Come on with us. They didn't have the exact address, but they knew the exact house.
12-year-old August Taylor watched for the police.
Me and the man over there, we stopped the police.
Police called for the suspect to come out. Sergeant Mike Brewer snapped on the cuffs.
He told me that a group of kids had started chasing him, and these kids kept yelling, "Just drop it, man, just drop it."
Police identified the suspect as 29-year-old Marcus Herbin, who's been charged with robbery and maiming. The reaction of the kids, including 12-year-old Calvin Williams...
I just wanted to catch him. I felt angry. Tell him to respect his elders. I felt sad for him because I knew what he did was wrong.
And what the kids did was right on.
They kept calling me hero and started rubbing on my head.
Primetime arranged a meeting.
How you doing?
Fine.
What's your name?
Jamal.
Jamal, I thank God for y'all being so dear.
This is an example of what this community and communities throughout the United States need to do to take their communities back from the criminals. And that's what these kids have done. These kids did a fantastic job.
Last night, the Newport News City Council honored the 13 youngsters, gave them each a certificate of appreciation, to which we add our, "Well done, kids. You've made us all feel a little safer." We'll be back in a moment. Terrific.
Primetime will continue after this from our ABC stations.
You know you need a new car, but you're waiting for spring or for that big income tax refund. Well, you can't afford to wait because the final shipment of Select Series Buicks is in, and soon they'll be gone forever. These luxury-equipped Buicks offer you once-in-a-lifetime price advantages, like over $2,500 on Regal and over $3,000 on LeSabre. But you must act now. There's no tomorrow, because these Select Series Buicks will never be offered again. See your local Buick dealer. Do it today.
No one else. No one else knows us like you. No one else enjoys the variety, the portions, the prices, the fast, friendly service, and of course, the food. Like
the customers!
Like me.
Like us.
Like us.
Like us.
At Rockney's Pub. No one else.
Power's back on in Orrville and Marshallville, but the trouble's not over. Good evening, I'm Laura Bailey.
And I'm Mark Williamson. We'll have a live report from Orrville tonight as the electricity comes back on after an 18-hour blackout.
And we'll find out what businesses and schools will remain closed tomorrow because of the power outage.
Also tonight, after a series of North Ohio news reports, we learn the FBI is now investigating a Stark County title company.
Akron police raid several businesses said to be running shady operations. In your health, contact lenses. Which ones are right for you?
Bob Alto says March is coming in like a lion, a very cold lion. And Phil continues with North Ohio's best coverage of high school sports with basketball tournament action.
It's all coming your way on 11 at 11 tonight.
Cold with just a chance of a few flurries. Details at 11.
Primetime continues. Once again from New York, Diane Sawyer.
Peggy Fleming, who was only 19 when she won the 1968 Olympic gold medal in figure skating, once said, "In 4 minutes, you're being judged on a whole year of practice, and not many sports put you through that." And not many sports require a family to sacrifice as much to achieve a young skater's dreams. So why do they do it? Well, tonight, a young girl who is the sensation of the skating world and her family explain what it really means to create a champion.
Budapest, Hungary, at the Junior World Skating Championships. The world's best young skaters are getting down to business. But the one to watch doesn't exactly stand out in a crowd until she takes the ice. She is Tara Lipinski, just 69 pounds, just 12 years old, and already a champion in the making.
Yeah! She thrives on competition. She loves it.
She'll drive herself till she gets it.
I love to compete. I love it, and I love skating.
And the skating world has fallen in love with her. Here in Budapest, she finishes 4th among the juniors, just out of the medals. But by next year, she plans to be skating with the seniors, the top skaters in the world. Her goal? Well, just ask Tara.
Well, my biggest dream is to win the Olympics.
That's better. Turn your toe out on the way back.
And back at her practice rink in Delaware, she pursues that dream in a grueling 6-day-a-week schedule. Coach Jeff DiGregorio is in charge.
That was actually the right timing. It wasn't too slow.
Tara's mother, Pat Lipinski, watches from the sidelines.
She just does it. This is it every day. All day long, you just do it till you get it straight.
It sounds like she drives herself pretty hard.
Yeah, she does.
Too hard?
I don't know. They say that's what makes her skate good, you know, that she wants it so badly.
Tara has to want it badly to endure the kind of physical punishment necessary to excel at her specialty, jumping. Tara can lift her compact little body very high and rotate unusually fast, routinely performing what is virtually unheard of for a female skater her age, triple jumps.
I love to jump. That's my favorite thing to do in skating. Just to land a jump. I mean, on ice skates and one blade, jumping up in the air. And you really don't think about it when you're falling on it, how hard and difficult it is to do it.
What was it like the first time you put on ice skates?
At first, I didn't like it.
As a toddler, she learned to roller skate and actually began skating competitively at age 4. By the time Tara, her mother Pat, and father Jack moved to Houston a few years ago, roller skating had become Tara's all-consuming passion. One day, as a diversion, her parents let her try ice skates.
And then all of a sudden I started to like it and jump and spin and...
Tara's extraordinary talent was obvious, but to pursue it, she'd need full-time training, top coaches at a top skating center. And that meant big changes for the Lipinski family. For the past 2 years, Jack Lipinski has lived alone in the family home in Houston, still working his oil company job. Pat and Tara have traded in the family life for a small apartment near her training center in Newark, Delaware.
Pat, I'm having a really hard time imagining sitting with your husband and saying, well, maybe after 20 years of marriage we should live apart so that Tara can keep skating.
That is difficult. You try to think of all the happy things and it'll be okay. And it's really not okay because you can't fly back and forth to see each other that much.
I miss out on seeing Tara grow up a lot, and it's difficult. I mean, we sit on the phone a lot, we call, we talk, but it's really hard. You know, my little girl is, 1,500 miles away from where I am.
He misses us. He's all alone in that house. Sad.
And it's all for skating. Is it worth it?
I think so. I mean, sometimes they don't think so, but I mean, they don't know what it's like to skate.
That kind of single-minded concentration is what keeps Tara focused on her goal of being a champion, keeping her on course through a non-stop daily routine. Each morning begins with 2 hours of academic tutoring.
You're going to look at this and you're going to round it to the nearest whole number.
And then I come here and I start skating at 10:40. Then I have about a half-hour break where I eat lunch. And then I do the 1 o'clock session to 1:40. Then I do a 2 to 2:40, and then I do a 3 to 3:40. And on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I also do ballet and jazz. And I do some homework, and then I usually eat dinner and go to bed. Good night!
The apartment and all the other expenses must be paid for by the Lipinskis, and it hasn't been easy. To cover the cost of everything from costumes to travel to coaching fees and custom skates, they've had to refinance their home.
How much money do you all spend on this?
The past year, it was $58,000.
Do you have a spare $58,000?
No, a lot of credit cards.
If you had it to do over again, would you do it over again?
And she never would know the difference? Probably not, because I know what it's like to leave my husband now. Be away from him. But that would have to be with the understanding that she never knew.
Last year was a critical point in Tara's young skating career. At age 11, she won a gold medal at the Olympic Sports Festival.
Wow!
The youngest athlete to do it ever in any sport. Though proud of her daughter's achievements, Pat worries that Tara is missing out on having a more conventional childhood. But it's too late, Pat says, to try to force a change.
It would be taking something away, and I think for the rest of her life, she would say, I never finished it, I never completed it. She's got to ride this one out.
And Pat Lipinski says she'll be there with her no matter what.
What is it like for you to sit here every day? I mean, for hours
For me, I'd say it was a little boring. It is. Because I do have the blues a lot, I worked hard to have a 21-year marriage, to have a beautiful home, to have a family, and now it's not there for me. So, I do feel like I'm giving up a lot. But she's also quite a kid. I'm proud of her.
Hold. Speed, come on.
And so is her coach. He believes she can be an Olympic champion. But getting her there can cause tension for them both. He's preparing her now for her toughest competition, the U.S. Championships.
What's going on? This is not playtime. This is 2 weeks before a national championship. I don't want this many mistakes. This is ridiculous. I'm not kidding around. I want lots of speed now. No more baby skating. We always discuss the problem, and I won't leave the rink being mad at her, or she won't leave the rink being upset with something I've said. Woo, that was beautiful. That was perfect. Perfect.
Jeff knows that as her achievements grow, he must prepare her not only for the physical challenges, but the emotional ones as well. Tara's friends are fellow skaters, and now increasingly defeated competitors. Stardom, Jeff warns, can be lonely.
You know, she's afraid that if she does something great, that that her friends aren't going to like her. She doesn't like to feel special. She likes to feel like she's ordinary.
But Tara wants it all.
Do you see yourself as a star?
I hope I do. I would like to. I still think of myself as a normal kid.
Here is Tara Lipinski.
Finally, the big day comes, the U.S. Championships and the junior women's singles competition. Tara and her coach planned a large number of triple jumps in her routine. She's under pressure to nail every one. In the end, a solid second place, the silver medal. Tara says she's ready for new challenges, whatever those might be, and her parents say they're ready too.
So proud of you.
We've decided to do whatever we need to do. We have one child, and you pass this way once. And if your child is excelling at something and really enjoys it and loves to do it, it's so hard to not do it.
Do you ever think about not skating?
No, never. I love just being at the rink, and I would stay here all night if I could.
After her performance at the U.S. Nationals, Tara coach says, as we told you, next season he's going to move her up to compete with the senior women. And Tara says she's not discouraged by placing second in the juniors. I'll go home and train hard, she says, and next year I'll be back.
Coming up, he's the latest member of the jury to be excused from the O.J. Simpson trial. An insider's view when Primetime continues.
This robe may look nice and white, but it doesn't compare to this Clorox white. Because detergent alone can leave clothes dingy, but adding Clorox every time gives you a brand new kind of white. Clorox Liquid Bleach. Also in lemon and fresh scents.
Everybody needs some money sometime.
When you need money fast.
Hello, Dad?
Count on Western Union. We send more money to more people around the world than anyone else. Western Union, the fastest way to send money worldwide.
Is there such a thing as a lease that's fun? Well, if it's a lease on a 1995 two-wheel drive Isuzu Rodeo, there is. Because at just $267 a month, it makes enjoying the big-time fun of a rodeo really easy. And if you don't believe us, just look how much fun our lawyers had with it. Geez, guys, not that much fun. Ooh, come on.
Offer not valid on Mars or other non-terrestrial sites.
Sheesh. Isuzu, practically amazing.
A sparkling ship on crystal waters is coming.
For me, that island was something I'll never forget.
A once-in-a-lifetime is coming. Experience that goes back to the Vikings is coming.
How to make it faster.
A brand new feeling is coming. An island you can call your own is coming.
I loved it. I didn't want to come home.
Gosh, they were gorgeous, those islands. You've got some Royal Caribbean coming.
Monday at 9, 8 Central.
This man is crazy.
Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss.
I'm sailing.
What about Bob? Sunday. Monday, it's the funniest night of television.
Come and get it.
Join Tom Hanks, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jim Carrey, Rodney Dangerfield, Ellen DeGeneres, Jerry Seinfeld, Katie Seagal, and more for the 9th Annual American Comedy Awards Monday on ABC.
Thursday, while Washington talks about cutting school lunches, big shots are living high after losing tens of billions of your tax money.
That's you and me.
What's worse, we can't get it back. If this doesn't make you mad, you're not paying attention.
Why didn't somebody say, hey, you can't do this?
Diane Sawyer, Forrest Sawyer, Day 1, Thursday.
You know, Mercury Tracer offers 30 standard features and a very affordable price. So why pay more and get less?
The more you wait, the less time you'll have to get special 3.9% APR financing or $600 cash back on Mercury Tracer. Your Lincoln Mercury dealers are moving every Tracer in stock with great deals and special financing. But to get this special 3.9 APR or $600 cash back offer, you'll have to get moving to your dealer by March 8th.
So see Mercury Tracer at your Lincoln Mercury dealer now.
Today, for the first time, a real look inside the O.J. Simpson jury from someone who was there. Aaron Brown reports from Los Angeles that the fourth juror to be dismissed today gave the first insight into how the case is going and how the jurors are handling the enormous pressure.
On the 50th day of being sequestered, juror number 12, Mike Knox, came home to meet the media and shoot down the pundits' conventional wisdom that the case will end in a hung jury.
Do you think this jury can reach a verdict, or is that an unfair question to ask? Without a doubt. Why do you feel so confident about that? Oh, because I think that the prosecution has made a pretty strong case so far. They're going to treat a member of the family. And they got the evidence. My daughter, Michelle, my granddaughter. Yeah.
Knox, a 46-year-old father of 7, that's foster son James in his arms, was back home with his family having been dismissed from the jury, a jury he says is feeling the pressure of this case.
That's an intense situation. You're bringing right now, 21, 22 people together with different points of view, different directions, different, just different situations, you know, in life. And it's not an easy situation because everybody is in a unique social situation. You try to become a family, but it's really hard.
It's really hard because after 50 days, even the smallest things can get on your nerves. And so says Knox, the jurors try not to fight it out, but talk it out.
They were just having a meeting with in the jury room as I left, and they were discussing some of the things that ticked a few people off. You know, just small things. You wouldn't believe some of the things that people will start arguing about, like little kids back in 6th grade.
Was there any racial tension as reported?
No racial tension. No racial tension.
Knox's dismissal has been rumored for several weeks. He admits he left some things off his juror questionnaire, but denies the allegation that it included a previous incident of domestic violence, or that he made a bet on the outcome of the case with a coworker before being seated.
Well, the reasons for dismissal were the things that you stated, and they're all fabrications and big-time lies.
How did they get to Judge Ito?
Pardon?
How did those fabrications get to Ito?
That's a good question. I hope to find that out here in the near future.
So there was no bet between your employees about
And I got 7 kids and 3 grandkids. I don't have time to bet. No money to bet.
He does not deny looking at the pictures in O.J. Simpson's mansion when the jury toured the home 10 days ago, despite the judge's order not to. He does deny the prosecutor's complaint that he stared at those pictures.
At the last minute, we were given an order not to view any of the pictures in the home. And I don't know if you have ever been in O.J.'s home, but there are pictures everywhere, and it was kind of impossible not to take a look at the picture. I mean, you couldn't walk in there. You would have to be blindfolded and not to observe the pictures in it.
Is O.J. a hero of yours?
Not necessarily.
Do you feel so unfair?
Thank you very much.
Knox was replaced by a 38-year-old white female who had earlier complained to Judge Ito about the hardships of being sequestered and wanted off the case. The judge then said no. Today he said this.
All right, number 353, when I said we needed you to stay. Okay.
Said the woman, smiling, I didn't know you meant so soon. The jury now includes 8 women and 4 men, 8 blacks, 2 whites, 1 Hispanic, and 1 of mixed race. One other note on the case today, police released the report made by the officer who took care of the 2 young Simpson children the night their mother was killed. Sydney, the 9-year-old daughter, kept asking the officer, "Where's my mommy?" And she'd whimper and cry, "I'm just tired, I want my mommy." The officer tried to distract the children with games, but Sydney kept asking, "Where's mommy?" And every time she did, she cried. Justin asked, "Why can't Dad come get us?" And Sydney answered, "Because he doesn't stay with us sometimes." And at another point, Sydney turned to her younger brother, Justin, and said, "You know something happened to Mommy, or she would have come for us by now." Sam?
Thank you, Aaron. Tomorrow, housekeeper Rosa Lopez, who has been the center of courtroom drama for the past few weeks, resumes her testimony on videotape.
Are these your drugs?
Look, Dad, it's
Where
not
did you get it?
Dad,
Answer me. Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
Bacon! Is that bacon I smell?
Got a taste for a burger with bacon.
Oh, I love bacon!
Crisp hot bacon sounds good to me.
McDonald's!
They do it like I like it at Mickey D's.
You better have one for me!
McDonald's Bacon Double Cheeseburger, a bacon lover's dream with savory, smoky bacon, is just 99 cents. Or get a morning fresh bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, only 99 cents for a limited time.
Get back here right now! Your
break today.
The all-new Lincoln Continental is so technologically advanced, you control it with the press of a button. Equally as impressive is that with the press of a button, its exclusive 12-function memory profile system sets everything back to where it was.
Your Lincoln.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
The new Lincoln Continental with a 32-valve V8 Intech system, the perfect balance of luxury and technology.
For years, AT&T's television commercials convinced my mom, my sister, and me not to join MCI savings programs.
Then we heard about MCI's new friends and family, and we decided to try it. So we joined together.
Now, when we spend just $10 a month, we save 50% on all the calls we make to each other.
That's half of what we used to pay on AT&T's basic rate for the same calls.
And now we realize that all the time AT&T was telling us not to join MCI, they were charging us America's highest long-distance rate.
Hey, America, something's missing from your sandwich. The great taste of cheese. Your roast beef sandwich scores a 0. But add some tangy cheese, you've got a great American hero.
Now this is a winner.
Give your sandwich a new attitude with cheese.
For her, any deodorant will do. But movers and shakers need maximum strength Lady Speed Stick. Antiperspirant that fights wetness and odor all day at full tilt. Clinically proven for the mover and shaker in all of us. Lady Speed Stick.
That's our program for tonight. Be sure to join Forrest Sawyer and me tomorrow night for Day One. They are Africa's world-famous and endangered gorillas in the mist. What happened to them during the fierce civil war in Rwanda? An odyssey in the mountains tomorrow night on Day One. I'm Diane Sawyer in New York. Good night to all of you, and good night, Sam.
Good night, Diane. Tonight on Nightline, under U.S. military cover, the UN troops are pulling out. The warlords and looters are moving right back in. The changing of the guard in Somalia. Tonight on Nightline after your local news. I'm Sam Donaldson in Washington, inviting you to join us again next Wednesday evening for another edition of Primetime Live.
To order a video cassette of Primetime, use your Visa or MasterCard. Call 1-800-913-3434. The cost is $34.95 plus $4 shipping and handling.
Primetime is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
The American Broadcasting Company, ABC.